Don't go away. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And I have a little story to tell you. I'm going to show you a picture here while I'm talking to you about this. A long time ago, Paul Bechtal of Diecast Graveyard, he and I did a build-off. Now, I have, ever since the Three Blind Mice have kind of gone their own way, I've kind of stopped doing build-offs. And it wasn't anything about being snotty or hoity-toity or anything like that, or not wanting to participate. It was simply about time. I'm retired, guys. I'm retired. And I do these hobbies because I love them, and I make the videos for you guys because I love it. The build-offs, the challenges, the competitions, all of that started adding deadlines to my life that I didn't want to have there. All right? So I kind of stopped doing all the build-offs and invitationals and all that other stuff. Dick move, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't intended to be. It was intended to keep the happiness in my hobbies. But Paul and I talk a lot, and we share things and stuff like that. And while we were talking last, he said, I still think about our Halloween build-off with the dairy delivery trucks. I had a lot of fun doing that, and I'd love to do another one with you someday. And I said, well, it's the beginning of October. What better chance than now we could revisit a Halloween build? So we agreed that we were going to do a Halloween build. No, I'm not getting back into challenges and all that. This is a special thing. I did this with Paul when he was a fledgling, and we were working together to try and build him up because I saw what a great builder he was going to be. And so it was more about that than anything else. So I agreed to do this build off because it just sounded like fun, actually. Plenty of time. I didn't have a casting in mind right off the bat, so okay. So what we decided is we're going to do a Halloween build off, and here's the rules. It is a Dukes of Hazzard Halloween build using any Hot Wheels Dodge Charger. So you could use this Dodge Daytona Charger. Okay? You could use this 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat. You could use this Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat wide body. Any Dodge Charger you want. It could be all the way back to the Redline Dodge Charger. It doesn't matter. It had to be a Hot Wheels Dodge Charger, and you got to make it a Halloween Dukes of Hazzard. So I ordered some cars in. I did some artwork. I may have bitten off more than I can chew, but we're going to give it a shot and see what we can do. And I've decided that I want to use the SRT Hellcat wide body. So we're going to get to work and cross our fingers. So I picked this Fast and Furious Charger just because it looked cool, but as I got it out of the package, I'm finding out more about it, and it's even cooler than I originally thought. It has real riders. I'm not going to need to change the wheels or tires at all. It's got a metal base. That's nice. The big problem is it's one of these specialty cars, and what that means is the tampos on it are made out of some weird plastic, and they're really, really tough to get off. It's a one of those situations where instead of stripper, maybe caustic soda would be the better way to go, but I'm just going to go with stripper and do it the hard way because that's just how I roll. All right, so as usual, we'll start by getting the car apart. We'll drill out the two posts, separate the base from the body. And like I said, I'm not going to need to mess with the base at all. I'm not going to need to mess with the glass or the interior. I can just put them aside safely and spend all my attention on the body. Once we get the car apart, we'll get the posts prepped, and then we can get it stripped, hopefully. Our fingers are crossed. One thing I noticed about this casting is it has some nice little details in the hood. Part of the interior pops up through the hood to represent the little hood scoops that are in the Charger, and it looks fantastic. It really does. It's a nice little touch. They could have just molded something into the body and called it good, but they didn't. They took the extra step, and it looks fantastic. So with the posts drilled out, we can go ahead and tap out the posts so they'll take a screw later on. And then we'll put some screws into the posts to keep the posts nice and clear. Now, while we're doing this, we can talk about my plan because I have a plan at this point. And I just need to kind of put it on paper and see how it will look, and we'll go from there. But right now, I do have a plan. I need to get some measurements off the car before it goes in the stripper because it could be gone for a while, and I need to do some graphics work. So I'm going to get the measurements now before it goes in the stripper so I can keep pushing forward. Okay, so I've got the measurements, and I took some pictures of the body, and now we can go ahead and plunk this sucker into the stripper and cross our fingers that these tampos go away. Because, like I said, they're not your normal Hot Wheel tampo that comes right off. These things are like coated in plastic or something like that. I have no idea, but they are brutal to get off. Now, I'm not going to waste your time and show it here, but no, the tampos did not come off. This thing spent like 6 hours in the stripper. I pulled it out, and all the paint was gone, but every decal was still on the car and not even thinking about coming off. So it had to go back into the stripper a second time, where it sat for like some 30 hours. And even then, all of the tampos did not come off. There are still some bits of it on the roof, and nothing I could do got it off, so I ended up having to take a pick and kind of pick it off the roof. I'm telling you, these special edition Hot Wheels are no joke. So I came up with this design. I'm calling it the Dukes of Graveyard. And I found a really cool Confederate flag. It looks like it's over a big bloody splotch, and I've got the cemetery in there, and I kept the traditional things. I've got the Confederate flag, and I've got the 01 on there. I'm gonna take this fat guy off. I didn't like it, but you see, when you do these designs in Illustrator, it makes it easy to vary things and move things around and stuff. And once you get everything the way you want it, then you can go ahead and scale it to your measurements. And then here is my decal sheet that I want to print. To cover all the bases, I do the sizes that I think I need, and then I go up by like 5% and down by like 5%. And I'll print a whole sheet. That way I can pick what fits best. But look at these. These are going to look so cool. Believe it or not, there's going to be 19 decals on this car. It is a lot. And that's why I said I wasn't sure if I could do this. Okay, 19 decals on a 1/64 diecast scale car. That's a lot of decals. To kind of help protect myself, I printed a sheet on regular paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the decals out of the paper and then just kind of press them into place on the car to see how they fit. And I'll rub them in real good so that the body lines kind of emboss the paper, and that way I can really see the fit and how everything works. And once I'm feeling like I've got everything, then I will print a decal sheet. But I always, especially something this complicated, I'll start with a piece of paper. But yeah, the trick is to press it down really, really well. And that way you can see the bottom edge of the car. You can see the wheel wells. You can see the molding. You can see where the windows are. And you can really get a feel for how everything is fitting. Okay, so when I talked about biting off more than I could chew and whether I could make this work or not, I was talking about a couple things specifically. Can I get these decals on this car and get them to look good? Second, can I pull off the 3-color paint job, green roof, and then the black and purple fade down at the bottom? I just don't know. I really don't know how this is going to come out. I do know if this comes out, it's going to be awesome. I may end up having to make another one of these just so I have one, because part of the arrangement is that we're trading cars, Paul and I. We're going to give each other our cars, and it's going to break my heart to give this away if it comes out. This is going to be bad. Yes, this is a car I would drive. I would drive this all day long. All right, let's get back to work. Now, the other reason I wasn't sure if I could really pull this off, aside from 19 separate decals, was this paint job. This is a pretty ambitious paint job. It is a 3-color paint job. The roof is 1 color, and then the bottom is a 2-color fade. So, I just wasn't sure if I could pull this off, but we're going to give it the old college try. We've got the car cleaned and ready to go, so we're over at the paint booth, and we're hitting it up with Tamiya Fine Primer. This will make sure that my paint job sticks well, especially because there's going to be masking involved. I don't want to pull the masking away and have the bottom layers of paint come off. So Tamiya Fine Primer it is. We'll set that aside to dry, and then we can turn our attention to the first color of paint. So I really had to think this out and develop a strategy for painting this. Normally you just automatically go lightest to darkest, but I wanted to be sure that the paint job I wanted to do, that was going to work out. And it seems like it was the best path. So I'm going to paint the entire car competition green using the Redline Shop's opaque green paint. And we'll go ahead and get that painted up, the entire car, and let it dry really, really, really well. I'm talking like 2 days on the heat lamp to make sure that this is just rock solid before I get to masking off the car. Now, most guys who are doing diecast have tried the Redline Shop's Spectraflame paints, and they're great. But if you haven't tried their opaque stuff, this stuff is amazing, and it goes down so beautifully. Here you're going to see me, I'm doing it the standard way I apply paint, tack coat, a couple intermediate coats, and then finish it all up with some beautiful wet coats. And that's going to give me such a great finish. And I got to be honest, there was a point here where the green on this Charger looked so good that I thought about pulling the plug on the initial design and leaving it just all green. But I decided that was the coward's way out and didn't do that. I'm going to do what I set out to do, or at least try to. But man, this green really looked fantastic. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see this all that well because it's green tape on a green car. But what I'm doing is I'm taking the thinnest tape I have because I need to be able to make sure that this goes around corners and stuff. And I've got to be really, really detailed in the taping. And I'm going to tape off from a body line up to the roof. So the whole top of the car is going to be masked off, because the black to purple fade is going to be on the lower half. So I'm going to take my time here and use as many pieces of tape as I need to, and I'm just going to really kind of chomp away at this to make sure that the tape job is really super good, because things are going well, okay? Things are going well at this point, and I don't want to screw that up. So at this point, I think I need to just kind of slow things down a little bit. Even though I'm feeling pretty excited right now and want to keep going forward, I really need to slow things down. So anyhow, I've got the car masked off, and I'm at the paint booth, and I'm going to mix up both the black and the purple over at the paint booth at the same time. Again, I'm using the Redline Shop's opaque paints. I'm using their purple and their gloss black. And I'm going to get those mixed up, and then we can go ahead and start laying down the fade. The funny thing and the tragic thing here is that this paint job is probably the most ambitious paint job I've ever taken on. And it's still only the halfway mark. If I pull this off, I still have to make the decals work. I could still blow this car even though I'm doing all this work. But there's nothing for it but to just keep pushing forward and hope that I can get this done. Anyhow, I've got both color paints mixed. I've got the casting masked off. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a little Tamiya Fine Primer. I'm going really, really light because I don't want it to bleed underneath the tape. And I'm trying to spray away from the tape edge. So, not into the tape edge. Does that make any sense? I don't know. I have no idea at this point. I'm a little leery at this point. But I'm spraying away from the tape edge to try and help make sure it doesn't bleed. That's dry, and now I can go ahead and load up my airbrush with the purple. And this is going to coat the entire lower section from the tape line down. And again, I'm going very, very light. And again, I'm painting away from the tape line. So in other words, let me try and explain it a little better. I'm painting from the top down. Okay, because if I painted from the bottom up, I'd be painting into where the tape edge is. So I'm not doing that. I'm painting top down to try to make sure I get a nice, clean, crisp edge on this purple. Now, as I build up the paint layer, I can go a little heavier and paint more my normal style because the paint is starting to seal the edge of the tape. So what I'm shooting for here with the purple is, again, a nice, smooth, glossy, wet finish, all right? Yes, this is going to get a lot of clear coat on it, but I still want the finish to be beautiful because it's going to have to take the decals. So anyhow, again, tack coats more than normal, medium coats more than normal because I'm trying to protect that tape edge, and then once I'm feeling confident, then I can go through and I can put down some wet coats to get a really nice purple finish. Now to transition to the black, all I did was clean my airbrush out and then just switched and kept right on going. I've dialed down my airbrush, meaning I can pull the trigger full back and it will only let out the bare minimum of paint because I'm just trying to mist the tape line with the black. I did put a little bit over all of the purple just to darken it up a little. I think that was a mistake. I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's still going to come out fantastic. I just think that the purple should have been a little bit brighter. I didn't see it at first, and you know, it is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I just wish I hadn't have done that. But so basically, I'm just aiming a very fine stream of paint right at the tape line, all the way around the car, just the barest amount of black, then I'll leave it. Don't overdo it. They say in art that you have to know when to stop, because if you don't stop at the right time, you're going to screw everything up. Now, like I always say when I mask cars off, I unmask them as soon as my airbrush is clean, and it was a really good thing I did that here. I got a little bit of overspray underneath the tape. Just a little bit. But it was on that really well-cured green. So all I did is take one of my modeling Q-tips, those dense ones that don't let out a bunch of fibers, and I put a little bit of lacquer thinner on there and just rubbed it right away. In just 2 seconds, it just came right off, and the car was perfect. So I was really happy about that. So anyhow, after the car was thoroughly dry, I started the decal extravaganza. This is going to take me 3 days to do. Starting with the red line that I wanted to put to divide the green and the fade. So this is just a red decal that I made, and I'm just going to use 2 of them, one for each side, that wrap around and join up in the back. They both end at the headlights at the front, so basically I just dip them in the water, slide them onto the car body, get them positioned, and then just leave well enough alone. The car had to sit overnight, so these can be thoroughly dry, because the car was going to require so much handling that I had to let these thoroughly dry and set before I could go on. So I'll get these red stripes on, and then we'll call it a day, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. So for round 2 of the decaling, I'm really focused on the cemetery scene that runs along the bottom of the car on both sides. I'm going to try and get those decals on, and while I was at it, I went ahead and put the tattered Confederate flag on the roof. But then again, so much decaling, and let me tell you something. The cemetery ones are, this is either going to make this car or break it, because there's so much detail in this car. It's a wide body, so it's got all these flares and things like that. I just don't know if this is going to work or not. But my plan is get the graveyard decals on, use as much setting solution as necessary, and really try to get these decals to conform to the body and hope for the best. Here's the problem, though. If they don't take to the body, and I'm using all these setting solutions and letting it dry, I may not just be able to get them off. I may have to start this whole car over again. So I really am hoping for the very best here. We'll lay the 3 pieces of graveyard on one side, then the other side, and then like I said, I already put on the Confederate flag on the roof. And then a lot of setting solution, multiple rounds, multiple drying sessions, and we'll cross our fingers. So I think this is going to work. I'm not completely done with the decals, but I think this is going to work, and you'll see here what we have, and I think it looks pretty good. I had to change that demon on the hood. The first one was too big and didn't look right. But this is working. I had a couple pockets of air that I had to poke with an X-Acto knife to let the air out and then use more setting solution. But I got them to settle down and dry good, and I think it looks pretty awesome. So the next day I finished up the decals, put the numbers on, and the 666 cubic inches and the Dukes of Graveyard logos, and let it all dry. And now this is where I'm really going to kick Paul's ass. The best part of kicking Paul's ass is that I'm doing it with his own stuff. His clear coat is going on now, and it is going to push this casting over the top. It is going to look so amazing using his clear coat. And I think that's really funny. Now, on the negative side, we're trading castings, so he's getting this car. But on the positive side, this is going to come out so amazing, and in part because of his clear coat. If you want some of it, follow my links to his page, and you can buy it. It's fantastic stuff, and it's way cheaper than some of the other stuff that's out there. All right. So, again, I had to slow down because it was too far into this to kill it. The car looks amazing. I'm tickled to death with this thing. So I let it dry for a really long time. But now I can put this together and see how it looks all finished. This is going to be fun. Again, it's a simple matter now because I did all the work with the posts earlier. I'll take out the screws. I'll drop in the glass, the interior, and then put the base on and screw it back together. And like I said, there's not really a lot that I need to do here. It's just put the car back together. All the work was involved in the paint job and the decals. But I think it looks amazing, and I hope you like this. You know, Paul Bechtal and Diecast Graveyard, great dude, great builder. I can't wait to see what he did for this build off. Make sure you go and check out his video as well as mine, and let us both know what you think. Okay, I'm excited to see what he comes up with because he always has great ideas. His cast, yeah, I can be honest. He whooped my butt in the first build off. He really did. He just crushed me. I don't know if I'll beat him this time because he's really really good, but I can tell you this: he won't beat me like he did last time. That's for sure. Anyhow, let's take a look and see what we did. All right, so I had to take a moment from the overhaul of the studio to wrap this video up. Here it is, the Dukes of Graveyard car. I think it came out awesome. This is going to give Paul a run for his money, I can tell you that. And it was a lot of fun. It was nice to do a challenge with my friend, and I enjoyed this particular challenge. It just everything worked great. Proof positive that don't shy away from something. Don't think, well, this is beyond me. I'm not going to go for this, because you may be wrong. All right, I pulled this off. I didn't think that I honestly did not think I could do this, but I decided to go for it, and it's one of the best cars I've done. Okay, I love the thing, and I hope you love it too. If you did, please give this video a giant thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I love to hear from you guys. And don't forget to visit Paul at Diecast Graveyard and watch his Dukes of Hazzard Halloween build, and check out and see how he did against me. All right, that's going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. I hope the rest of your day is amazingly wonderful and a little bit spooky. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.